I have written top CVs to secure job offers for myself and my clients. My CV strategy has worked successfully for me to secure job offers at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and HSBC, and help many of my clients secure jobs at many top finance firms across the industry. So stay tuned in this video to learn some top 3 secrets to help you with your CV. Tip number 1, you need to focus on perfecting your profile summary, right? Now, your profile summary is that top part of your CV that briefly describes what type of work you do and what type of unique skills you have. And you should bear in mind when people are reviewing your CV, they typically only have 7 seconds. That's the average time that a recruiter or a hiring manager will spend reviewing a CV before coming to a conclusion whether to invite you for an interview or not. So it's quite a short time period. And I've seen it myself. I've been in the case of someone applying for jobs, but also someone interviewing people applying to work for top investment banks such as Goldman Sachs. Now, typically we'd be on the trading floor. I'd be alongside, say, my manager at the time, other senior team members, and we'd be reviewing CVs. And we're busy doing our day jobs, dealing with trading activity, sales activity. And in that time, we only have a few minutes in between those tasks to review CVs for hiring a new team member. And in that time, we'd quickly look at your CV, for example, if you're applying for Goldman Sachs. So I imagine when I'm on the trading floor at Goldman Sachs at the time, a few years ago, we'd be looking at the top part of your CV, which is that profile summary. And that's why you should focus on perfecting that. It's a few sentences that you should focus summarizing your CV at the top and also focusing on your USPs, your unique selling points. So any unique skills you have, perhaps you're someone who can speak 2 languages, you can speak Spanish, which will help us deal with our Spanish sales team. Perhaps you can speak Mandarin, which will help with a growing emerging market such as China. So all these type of skills could be important. Anything unique you have that's a unique skill set that you have beyond the standard finance degree or economics degree or a bit of similar experience, you should put that at the top of your CV in the profile summary. It'll help you stand out compared to the others. Now, point number 2 is your relevant and transferable skills. Now, many people, they kind of, their CV is a bit too vague. It's a bit too generic. It looks like every other CV you've seen before. But what you need to do is really make sure your CV is focused on and tailor-made to the job you're applying for. So focus on your relevant and your transferable skills, certain projects you might have worked on that will be similar to the job you're applying for, anything that shows an element of leadership, which is good, and it encourages a company such as Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley to hire you because they'll say, okay, hold on, this guy or this woman that's applying for the job, they've got long-term potential. Not only can they do similar projects here that they've done in the past at university, at other companies, they also have this great thing, which is they have leadership ability because they've shown some level of leading projects in previous jobs that they've worked on. So that's a very good thing to show. Now, another thing to focus on would be your niche technical skills when you're writing your CV work experience sections. So anything you've done that is quite niche and technical, because that will help you stand out. Because some people maybe have the soft skills, they're good at schmoozing and playing office politics and presenting themselves right in an interview. But what will in fact help them get that initial interview where they can demonstrate their people skills will be the technical skills on their CV. So if you have any niche trading skills, maybe you're good at trading interest rate swaps and you've done something like that, or you've traded niche structured products that are quite complex financial elements, and you've demonstrated your ability to engage in that type of activity, that will really help you stand out, because a lot of people, they quite frankly don't have that, right? So that's another thing to consider. There's another thing to consider in terms of making sure your CV is really pointing out the relevant transferable skills that you have, and anything that shows leadership on one hand and anything that shows any niche technical skills, right? I had people I've worked with who have highly skilled abilities in trading commodities, quite niche commodities that many people don't know about, how to trade some nickel, copper, things that are not typical precious metal golds, how to trade certain niche agricultural products, how to trade cocoa, how to trade certain types of grain, how to price that based on international markets. Those things will help you stand out because it shows you can do something most people can't. Now, the third and final point in how you can improve your CV in a very simple way would be to present yourself as a kind of relatable, friendly, interesting person to talk to. In the finance industry or in most corporate jobs, you'll be at the desk for long time periods, right? 12 hours a day, perhaps 14 hours a day in certain cases. Now, people want someone they can actually talk to on a daily basis and feel like, oh, this is a friendly person or an interesting person. And that's why the hobby section or the bottom part of your CV where you talk about other interests, try to present yourself as an interesting person. You don't have to be a social butterfly, the most charismatic person in the world or the most outgoing, but a few interesting things that people will want to talk to you about. And some of the keen hobbies that they have in the finance industry, one of them would be skiing. Lots of people like to go on skiing trips. Sometimes they do team skiing trips. I've seen at Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. So if you have an interest in that, maybe point that out. That will help you be relatable to some of the employees at those companies. And then anything else that you find interesting that would be interesting to talk about with your coworkers. Maybe you have cooking skills, you go to cooking classes. And also another thing I think you should mention in the hobbies, just to help you, be a bit relatable to them. I'm based in London, and the culture here, even though it's not something I engage in, they like to go to pubs, they like to drink IPAs, like certain niche homemade beers, things like that. So even showing a general interest in that. You don't have to say you drink beer on your CV, but niche interest in local culture, things like that, just to help you stand out, just understanding the culture where you're at, right? So there you have it. 3 simple tips to help you write your resume quite simply. Point number 1, focus on that profile summary, the very top section of your CV. Focus on any unique selling points you have there. Point number 2, your relevant and transferable skills. Make sure your work experience section show your relevant and transferable skills, your leadership in running projects, niche technical skills in any type of maybe particular trading activity you can do, any niche part of finance you have some certifications in. And then point number 3, make sure the hobby section of your CV shows you're a bit of an interesting person to work with. Maybe you go on skiing trips, you are good at cooking classes, for example, you engage in the local culture. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. There are 2 recommended videos on your screen right now, a free ebook in the description, and leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.